What's up everyone, welcome back to another video. I hope you're enjoying your international break, but it's finally time to come back and start planning ahead for the remainder of the season. In the first of 3 videos going into Game Week 31, we're going to have a look at not one, but 2 different wildcard drafts for you. The reason we're going to look at 2 is because a lot of you are considering playing your free hit in Game Week 33. That is a big double game week, but some of you don't have a free hit left. So this will be 2 wildcard drafts depending on if you want to play your free hit in Game Week 33 and whether you want to save it or don't have one at all. Even if you do have a free hit left for Game Week 33, you may decide to save it and play it in Game Week 36 if you don't have a bench boost, or Game Week 37, or even in Game Week 38. So the first one we're going to go through is if you do not have a free hit at all. So we will be loading up on a few extra players with a double in Game Week 33, plus a few players that we want for the majority of the season, no matter whether they have double game weeks or not. So diving into this first wildcard draft, and this is how we are lining up. We start off with Schmeichel and Gaeta in goal. So some of you are probably thinking that's a slightly strange goalkeeper combination to go with. However, hear me out on this. Schmeichel and Leicester have a double, of course, in Game Week 33. They are likely to have the most fixtures to rearrange, and doubles in likely to come in Game Week 36 and 37 as well. Gaeta and Crystal Palace have looked good defensively. It rotates well with Leicester, and if you want to bench boost later in the season, are likely to double in Game Week 36 as well. So given their price of 4.6 and 4.8 million, I think it's a good combination of goalkeepers that you can go for if you are on a wild card and not planning to play your free hit in Game Week 33. Into the defence, the first one we've got is Roberts of Burnley. So 4.4 million, a good cheap option for you to have in your team. Now again, Burnley doubling Game Week 31 and Game Week 33 as well. So they have 5 fixtures in the next 3 game weeks alone, which I think is definitely worthwhile if you're not free hitting in Game Week 33, loading up on a couple of their assets, despite them not being really the best team to go in theory, in terms of their performances. It's a great cheap price, so you don't have to play him later on, but in Game Week 36, again, they are likely to have another double game week. So he is good, cheap bench fodder, and then you can just play him when they do have double game weeks. Reece James, Cancelo, Trent next. These are going to be in both the wildcard drafts that we're going to look at. They're just great attacking fullbacks from teams that are capable of keeping clean sheets, and they get the attacking returns and bonus points to go with it. Yes, there's no double in Game Week 33 for any of these 3 teams, but they are all capable of outscoring any double game week player that week, despite only having a single game week. We know how good the 3 teams are. We know how capable they are of beating anyone else in the league. So they are in here. Not too much to talk about. I do think James and Trent will be back fit for Game Week 31, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. But even if they aren't, and they may be back Game Week 32 or 33, they're good just to hold because of the amount of bench options that you do have in this team. And finally, in the defence, we have Kieran Tierney of Arsenal, 5.1 million. He's in here because the Arsenal defence is very highly owned, and they then have a double in Game Week 33, and then are likely to double in Game Week 36 as well. You could go Gabriel if you have a bit more money. He's slightly better for bonus point, and he has good goal threat from set pieces, but I've gone with Tierney. He's slightly cheaper, he's good for bonus as well, and then has the assist potential getting up that left hand side. So it's quite a big defense, but you can bench Tierney, you can bench Roberts, or you can just play a 4 at the back, because I think there's a lot of value to be had in the big at the back system between now and the end of the season, with Schmeichel and Gaeta in goal. Moving into the midfield and attack. So Salah, of course, is in here. There's no doubt that Salah is going to be in your team. Yes, his returns in the past few weeks haven't been quite as good as they were earlier in the season, but it's Salah. They're likely to double again in Game Week 36. The highest goal scorer, he's the highest point scorer in FPL. Salah is in this team. Next to him, we've gone with Jadon Sancho. Now, part of this is a budget thing. If I could afford Bruno Fernandes, I would go for him, but I've gone with Sancho. They do double in Game Week 33, and you could have Havertz in here, but I think going Sancho for that double, which does include Norwich at home, and then moving to Havertz for the remainder of the season, is probably the way I would go. But if you don't fancy Sancho, just go Havertz straight away. Manchester United have got to fight for top 4. They now have nothing else to play for apart from that, so they really will be focusing on the league, putting out the full strength team every single game week, and Sancho has looked much better in recent weeks than maybe he was at the start of the season. So 8.9 million, you save a bit of money over going for Bruno Fernandes, save a bit of money over going for Cristiano Ronaldo, and going for Sancho. Given the form he showed in recent weeks, I think he could be a good cheaper enabler compared to the likes of Bruno Fernandes and Ronaldo. Next to him, one of the best budget picks I think we have in the game in here is Martinelli. Now, I don't have the money for Saka, and if you did downgrade Sancho to Havertz, you could go for Saka over Martinelli, but at 5.3 million, I think it's so difficult to ignore the value that he can provide. He seems nailed in that Arsenal team playing on that left-hand side. They double in game week 33 like Tierney, and then they are likely to double again in game week 36 as well. He's just such a good cheap option that you can bench him for difficult fixtures and then start him when they have good fixtures or they have a double game week. Next up is Barnes. So again, like Schmeichel, Leicester are likely to have so many double games between now and the end of the season because they are likely to continue to progress to the later stages of the Europa League. Barnes picked up an assist in game week 30 and they are doubling in game week 33, game week 36 and probably another game week as well. 6.5 million, given the amount of fixtures that they have left, I think it's worth going for either him or Maddison. Now, Maddison did look good. The only thing is he isn't starting every single game when everyone is fit, so I have gone with Barnes out of the two of them. And finally in the midfield, we've gone with Fraser, another cheap enabler that you can rotate in and out of your team depending on the fixture. A team that's looked really good in recent weeks, fighting to stay up, although it looks like they're probably safe already, doubling in game week 33 as well. Fraser is a good option, pretty nailed to play alongside Willock, but Fraser being slightly cheaper is why he's the final midfielder that I've gone with this first wildcard team. Up front, we've got Broja and Weghorst and Harry Kane. So Broja, again, a player that you can rotate. So because this is a really strong 15-man squad, you'd probably play a sort of 4-4-2 every week. But Fraser, Broja, Weghorst, Martinelli, Tierney and Roberts can all rotate into your team every single game week. Broja, although he's not looked that great, is probably still nailed to start. They double well in game week 33 as well. And then you can bench him for the remainder of the season unless you play him in the odd good fixture that they have. We've got Weghorst in there. Again, the striker options are really poor, so I have focused on strikers that do have double game weeks. 6.4 million is a good price for him. Again, with Roberts in there, they have a double in game week 31, which you'd have Weghorst for. Double in game week 33, again, if we're not playing our free hit, we need to look at that. And then doubling again in likely game week 36. And finally, Harry Kane. Kane or Son were always going to be in this team. You could go for Son over Sancho and then downgrade Kane, for example, but I think Kane is the one to go for. He is linking up well with both Son and Kulusevski. Yes, the recency bias shows that Son is a better option, but previously it was Kulusevski and Kane has always been involved, so that's why I've gone with him. In this team, we have quite a few double game week players in game week 31 with Weghorst and Roberts, but also in game week 33 as well. You've got Schmeichel in goal, you've got Roberts, you've got Tierney, you've got Fraser, you've got Martinelli, Sancho, Barnes, Weghorst and Broja. So quite a lot of double game week players, and you could even play your bench boost in game week 33 if you did want to play that as you're not free hitting that week, because the bench in this team would likely have to be James, Cancelo or Trent, or you're benching double game week players. So I do really like the look of this wildcard team if you are not going to be free hitting in game week 33. Now that is the first wildcard draft, but now let's have a look at how I could line up with a wildcard if I was going to free hit in game week 33. Now the players that remain the same are the ones you've got on screen, and we change 4 players. So we take out 4 players that we originally held because they had a double in game week 33, and we took them out for players who are probably better for the foreseeable and long-term benefit of your team. So Schmeichel and Guy stay again because of their fixtures later on in the season and their fixtures short-term. Roberts, James, Cancelo, Trent stay because Roberts likely to have those doubles. James, Cancelo, Trent because they are just great options. Salah, of course, stays. Martinelli stays for his great cheap price. Barnes stays again for the number of fixtures he has to make up. Weghorst for his goal scoring ability, but also the lack of forward options, but him having double game weeks, both in 31 and then later in 36 as well. And then of course, Harry Kane is in there to lead the line. Now the players to fill in those gaps are as so. So Robertson, Ramsey, Havertz and Cuco Hernandez. So Robertson, Liverpool don't double in game week 33. So I did sell him for Tierney. However, if you are free hitting that week, Robertson, they've got a great run of fixtures, likely to double in game week 36. He's been so good matching and even outperforming Trent. I think that big at the back for James, Cancelo, Trent, Robertson is absolutely so valuable if you can afford it. Now, in order to free up the money, we have got Ramsey in our midfield. Again, he seems like a good option, a cheap option. If you're bench boosting or not, he can just sit on your bench. They could double in game week 36 if you are bench boosting. So that's why I've gone Ramsey over another option in midfield. So he's in there. 4.8 million is a great price. Havertz comes in. Again, I had Sancho in here because he doubles in game week 33, but I think Havertz for the remainder of the season is a great pick, especially if you don't need him for game week 33. And then we've gone for Cucho Hernandez in for Broja. Again, Watford likely to double in one of game weeks 35, 36, 37. Cucho Hernandez has scored so many points in the past couple of games. Broja was in there because he doubled in game week 33, but if we don't need him for that, I would downgrade, save the extra $500,000 that you can get with Cucho Hernandez, get Robertson in there, get Havertz in there as well, and that is what I would look like if I did still have a free hit to play in game week 33. So a couple of different wildcard drafts with a few tweaks depending on what your chip strategy is going to be between now, game week 33, game week 36, and game week 37. I hope you have enjoyed. If you have, drop a like on the video, subscribe if you are new, leave any questions or comments in the comment section down below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll be back again very soon.